goal! Trying to goal! And what a goal!
What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How are you all doing? Hope you are well on this in Dublin, in Ireland. It's a smashing day. The L boys getting a bit of tan on, out the back garden, having a few beers. I'm not wine tasting today. I hope you've seen that video and stuff like that. But now, look, watch the FA Cup and stuff like that. Look, City, they're going to win everything. Let's be honest about it. These teams come around every now and again, and, you know, special teams. The Invincibles, the Man United team, the 99 team, absolutely quality team. Man City, unfortunately, for us, I suppose, they're just unbelievable. They're steamrolling everyone. What can you do? But there's one thing I just want to say before I get into the Man City thing. There's one thing I just want to get off my chest, and I actually done a video. And I went so mad in the video, I actually looked at it myself, and I never look at my videos at all. I never go back and look at my live streams or any videos I do. I do my videos, just record it. I don't edit anything or nothing like that. I just go with it. This one, I knew I blew the top. I went mental, basically, because two people wrecked me head. And I'll have it here, right? But I deleted the video. I didn't even put it up, anything like that. But I'm gonna read out. First of all, it's Ryan Giggs I want to talk about. Okay, and I'll just. This is what he said. Okay, this is the exact what he said. Right, I wrote it down. I didn't like Arsenal. I didn't like Vieira because he was dirty and got away with it with murder. I didn't like Petit because he had long hair. Yeah, because he had long hair. I didn't like Bergkamp. I didn't like Perez, even though when you meet him now, he's actually a dead nice guy. Okay, Ryan. If I'm not mistaken, okay, first of all, I'll hit into that, okay? But if I'm not mistaken, you had an affair with your brother's wife. Would that be correct? Yeah? So that makes you an absolute asshole, okay? So how dare you start going on about Vieira, Petit, and stuff like that? They shouldn't even be in your category. Don't even talk about it, all right? Yeah, fucking dickhead. You know what I mean? I blew me head when I seen that. What an absolute scumbag he is. Okay? To, like, you know, like Petit because he's long hair. Okay, so you're judging someone because the way they look. You absolute fool. You know? And Perez, I didn't like Perez, but I actually got to know someone. Well, guess what? Humanity works like that. You actually talk to someone and treat them with respect. Guess what? You get that back. You know what I mean? Wow, you know. And another fella who wound me up as well. And if I ever seen him, I'd punch him in the face. That's what I do to this guy. And it's your man Mudryk, the fella who we were linked with, who's at Chelsea. He put on his Instagram or some shit like that, right? He recorded some guy who was a bit larger than life, and that's no problem. He was in the gym. He was trying to work out. He was trying to better himself. That's what this man was doing. And he had the arse of his fucking arse crack. The bottoms were down a bit low. And this guy's recording him, laughing at him. If I ever see you, I'm punching you right into the nose, mate. Because you don't do that to people. This guy was clearly just trying to better himself. He was in the gym. He was trying to work out, trying to lose weight or get better and make himself feel better. And this clown who's a multi-millionaire is there recording him with his stupid fucking neck tattoos and all. You scumbag. Don't you ever do shit like that. Okay, rant over. Sorry about that. I'm going to I have a few people in here and the link is in the thing. Jump on, show your face. Don't show your face. We don't care here. We're all good. We're all good, respectful and everything like that. I'm sorry I didn't mean to start the show on the negative, but look at it. There's two senior analysts here beside me to brighten my day up even better. Manny, I'll start with you, brother. How have you been keeping, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. I mean, today I was actually on a watch-along for the FA Cup final, hoping that United would somehow win. My friend and I were both wearing red. Fat lot of good that did. I think United were just completely flat on the day, and they didn't even look like challenging City. I think on balance, City deserved to win. There's still a great deal of contention about the penalty, although as an Irishman, I'm sure you've got no love lost for Mr. Grealish, so you would have been quite happy to see that fella penalised for that. However they come, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I've been keeping myself busy, and I think this is actually the first stream I've gone on to. I mean, one of the very few I've gone on to talk about Arsenal's season. I haven't been on too many, and a lot of people have been they've been very upset, and understandably so. And all we can do now is just conduct a post mortem and see what we can possibly do. And this stream says it all. How do we stop Manchester City? It's going to be it's not going to be very easy, but I'm glad you sent me the link. You asked if I was interested. You know the drill, mate. You call, I come running.
Mr. Reliable. That's your new name. What player was that? They used to always say that, Mr. Reliable. I forget the player. They'll try to come to me now in a while, but yeah, definitely back on you. Count on you, Manny.
And by the way, listen, I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because let me say something about Ryan Giggs. I just posted in the private chat. That idiot should be in prison for his crimes. And if he didn't like Emmanuel Petit, he should thank his lucky stars he doesn't have to see Erling Haaland. I'm not going to speculate on whose side he took between Erling's father and Roy Keane. I mean, we all know for ourselves. And as for Mudryk, well, we're better off without him, really.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm just glad. I just hope and pray that idiot didn't post that video on social media. That's disgusting.
No,
you do not do that. You do not. Yeah, I go to the gym quite frequently. Okay, there are quite a few women at the gym as well. But the way to conduct yourself is to display some etiquette. You do not use your phone or go up to someone and be all up in their business and then take a video and laugh at that. I mean, he belongs at a club like Chelsea, but I think, as Warren will agree with me, given how our standards have been allowed to slip, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones or insult other clubs for a supposed lack of class.
Yeah, it's just it's disgusting. That's what I seen on the social media, and like he was recording this guy. Like, who are you? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't care. Like, the way I treat people, I don't care if it's the fucking, excuse me for cursing, the King of Ireland or Mane. I'd still treat you the exact same. You know what I mean? Respect. That's what it's called. You know what I mean? But like, this guy is a professional footballer. He's multi-millionaire, and he's there with his phone out laughing at a guy who's trying to better himself. No, not for me. And if I was there and I seen that, it wouldn't have been nice, because that's a bully to me, and bullies, I eat them for breakfast. Trust me. I've done boxing for 10 years. I know how to take care of myself, and I'll tell you one thing, I take care of him. Anyway, we don't want to get in violent and stuff like that. We'll continue on. Just want to say big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. Please do hit the likes up. I'll come into Warren next. He was in there next. Warren, I'd say you're a happy man at the minute.
Yeah, I'm happy that they got the treble sorted out. I have to say I'm really concerned about Ange, because I think if he leaves, I don't know where we go from there.
Yeah, and this is he's linked with Spurs, I believe.
Yeah, and I just think going to Spurs at the moment would be a massive mistake. Yeah, I can understand why he wants to come to the Premier League, but to go to Spurs, they're such a mess that they've had two world-class managers in a short space of time, and none of them have been able to deliver. There's been a whole succession of managers who've ruled themselves out of the running and said they don't want to manage the club, and I think it's because of Levy. I do. I think it's him. He's like, there's massive issues at that club, and I just think that it could destroy Ange's career going there, because I don't think whoever goes in there is going to have success. until these issues are dealt with. And one
you
of
there,
them
Warren?
is the way that. Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you
Sorry,
hear-
mate.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I was just saying that I don't think it would matter who went in there, because I think that the issues are so big that it would just make it impossible. And I think probably the biggest issue is Daniel Levy. You know, so
Yeah,
I just think if I was him, I wouldn't want to go there. I'd rather stay at Celtic and try and take them into the Champions League, see what I could do in the Champions League, you know, see if I could get them into the knockout stages. But going to Spurs, I just think you're asking for trouble. I do. I just think,
yeah.
I think his career could just really fall apart. You know, because
If it's any consolation, Warren, and sorry to interrupt you, I'm pretty certain that Joe Hart would have been in Ange Postecoglou's ear and told him, "Listen, I had a horrible time over there. I didn't get to play too much, and I didn't like the way the club was being run. You need to stay here where you are loved." So hopefully that's what Joe would have done.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I don't know. It's just the lure of the Premier League, the money and the fact that you're going to pit your wits against other top managers like Pep and Jurgen Klopp and Eric Ten Hag, those sorts of ilk. Because I don't think he'd have any trouble outwitting Arteta, not at all. I think he would absolutely school him. But, you know, it just worries me. I mean, I knew that when he started being successful, that this day would come because he's such a good manager. But to go there, I just think it's a big mistake. And if I could just spend 5 minutes with him, all I would do would be to try and convince him, look, you know, if you're going to go, fine, but don't go there. You know, because you're going to, look at the track record of the managers that have been there and not succeeded. What makes you think that you can go there and achieve what these managers who had the CVs they've had, what makes you think that you're going to be successful? Because I'm telling you, he will not. He won't, because the club is a mess. It really is. So,
I agree with you, Warren. I don't think it's the best move for him. You know what I mean? To go there. Levy is just a hard CEO to work with, you know, and it's not a good career move, I don't think. Even though I think he will do well if he does come to the Premier League. And no offense to Celtic, you know, a manager of his type sort of will go to the Premiership and will want to test himself there. You know what I mean? Unfortunately.
Yeah. 100%. And I've known that day was coming just because how good he is. I mean, you can see it. Just week in, week out, the way he gets those players pumped up and the way they just keep going. And they just, he has this expression called, you know, says, never stop. And with them, that's what it is. They just don't stop. They just keep going. And, yeah, you're 100% right, mate. And he deserves the opportunity because he is a top-draw manager, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he could have gone and managed any of those top six sides without much of an issue. I really do. But Spurs, I just don't think it's the right fit for him. I don't. I think it's too much of a mess. I don't think any top manager would go there and get success. I mean, if Conte and Mourinho have both gone there and not been able to get success, I mean, I just don't see how anyone would.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, mate. I just want to bring in first a debutant here today in Henry Ray, the legend. What's the story? How are you? And I'll tell you one person who knows all about Man City and how to beat them because you're a Liverpool supporter, and thanks a million for dropping by. What do we need to do? Well, first of all, big hello, and how are you?
Thank you very much for allowing me onto your channel, Del Boy. You are a stand-up guy. Thank you for subbing to my channel. I love this channel. So I will keep coming back.
Thank
Hi
you.
to Money and hi Warren, who's also been on my channel. And that was awesome. Oh gosh. Yes, we love beating City. We have run them into the ground. And I really sincerely hope that the charges against them will stick and they will get thrown out of the Premier League because they're dirty owners, and go right down into the National League because that's what they deserve. And I hope Pep leaves as well, because I'm pretty sure he knows as well. I don't think it's just the owners. I think it's Pep as well, because I can't stand them as well as their own other neighbours. Not because they are Manchester, but because what they stand for. Greed, and they stand for racism, they stand for homophobia, and they stand for vile chanting against Liverpool Football Club. And if I can just mention what happened today with the FA Cup final, I don't know if you've all seen the game, but a Man U fan was in that stadium at Wembley wearing a Manchester United shirt, away shirt, with 97 on the back, and the words saying, "Not enough."
Oh my God. That's disgraceful.
It's absolutely vile, because I did a live just today, earlier, and I am livid that this is continuing going on in football. No fan, I mean, I'm sure you all agree with this, no football fan should lose family members at a stadium.
Yeah.
To the extent of being crushed to death by railings because police, South Yorkshire Police, refused point blank to open the gates at Hillsborough. And poor policing lost 97 fans. Our fans, Liverpool Football Club, of which I am a lover of. So I feel very strongly that the victims' families have brought it all up again by the stupid, vile idiot of Manchester United wearing a shirt that is depicting death and wanting more fans to die at a football ground.
That's
When
disgusting.
is it going to stop? For crying out loud.
Yeah.
How much longer are football fans, families, going to suffer because of people like this? I can't. My heart goes out to those families of the victims and our fans to witness this at a Wembley Stadium where so many people are watching by TV, online, and at the stadium. I mean, what is the point if nothing gets done by the FA, UEFA, FIFA? They are dirty themselves, all of them, in other ways. But today, if that bloke, Manchester United bloke, does not get a lifetime ban and thrown out by either the Met Police or Manchester United and Glazers, then the football is dead. Because we should not have to put up with it. Every single time a football match is played. Because you should be able to go to a football game with your mates and enjoy the camaraderie, enjoy the game itself, and then go home with your mates and continue the camaraderie, because that is football.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like it's like, look, it's disgusting, and I hope that fan, like, he is just, and excuse the French and the bad language, a just complete idiot and asshole, because he thought about, I'm gonna get this jersey, I'm gonna go get this printed on the back, you know. So there was the word will probably come to me in a second. I can't think of it, but the word I want to use, but you know, he thought it out, you know what I mean, to be a scumbag, you know what I mean, and to do that, like, I go to matches with my two boys, you know, and thank God, like, you know, it wasn't like Hillsborough back in the day and stuff like that, because Jesus Christ, anyone should be able to go anywhere to a match or to whatever and enjoy it and come home safe, you know what I mean. And for some asshole to actually go and think that this is funny, it's not funny at all, mate. You are a clown, you know. And you know, in fairness to Man United, I think they will sort that out. And if he is a season ticket holder, that'll be he'll be on a ban, you know what I mean, hopefully, anyway. But
I believe there's an update on that fan in question. He has been arrested by the local police there, police. So he will. I don't know if charges will be pressed against him, but for a start, he has been arrested. In addition, there was also an incident at that FA Cup final where a fan, not too long after Manchester United equalised, threw something onto the field and it hit Victor Lindelof square in the eye.
Yeah. I actually seen that, because I think Casemiro was giving it a bit as well, like, you know. And look, we understand that stuff gets heated and stuff like that, and it's a derby game, it's an FA Cup final and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, why are you throwing stuff and trying to harm someone? You know what I mean? It's just a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Also, in addition, I want to say that there should need to be an investigation as to where that guy got that stuff printed on the shirt. If he got that printed in the club shop at Manchester United, the person who authorised it or did it, they need to be sacked.
Yeah,
they need to be sacked, because, you know, you putting that on the shirt, you know full well what that means, right? You know, can you imagine if, I don't know, if like if someone had done that in the club shop at Liverpool, saying something about Munich 58, or someone at Celtic Park had like put something on the back about the Hampden Park disaster when all those Rangers fans got killed, and no, it's just, or someone at Blackpool in the club shop put something on a shirt about the Hampden Park disaster. Do you know what I mean? It's just not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? It's just not. It's just like things like that are absolutely sick, and it needs to be stamped out. You know?
Yeah, like it's look, come here. It's just morons because like you get a fucking idiots everywhere. You know what I mean? No matter where you go, and this is the way. Look, we've all seen them and stuff like that. It doesn't represent Man United as a club, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, or anyone like that as a club. No matter where you go in life, you always get a jackass that's acting the clown and that's doing stupid stuff, and it's represented then as a Man United fan. So Man United. But it's now about the club, Man United, what they do in response to that. You know what I mean? If he is a season ticket holder, I'm sorry, mate, you're banned. We can't have that representing our club. You know what I mean? And it's just, that's a nice gesture. And the guy should realise, I've done something wrong. You know what I mean? But it was premeditated. He went to a shop, wherever he went, and he got this printed on his back. So he had to get in his car, get in a bus, get in a train, go to the shop, tell them what he wanted. You know what I mean? This is it. But I'm not even going to let this clown out, sort of ruin this stream and keep continuing on about it, because he's just a moron in my eyes. And I want to sort of talk about, let's say, look, we're an Arsenal channel, and I'm delighted Henry's here because I'd love to hear your opinions of this. But I'll go to Manny next because I like doing me questions the whole circle around. Manny, how far away are Arsenal realistically, in your opinion, and how much is it going to cost us to get to beat Man City?
Well, in the spirit of the last question being the first and the first question being the last, an almost biblical reference there, it is going to cost more than the budget that's being proposed now, which is about 200 million quid. Because with almost every single world-class player coming, being valued at close to 100 million, that's barely enough to buy two players. Let's talk about possibly getting Rice and Caicedo. If you try to get them both and somehow win, you blow your budget. I think there is some talk about Declan Rice wanting to stay in London and the Premier League, but he is, of course, being courted by a certain Mr. Tuchel, or Herr Tuchel, as would be said. Won the Bundesliga by the skin of his teeth, but won it nonetheless, and now wants to completely revamp the team by building it around the West Ham captain. So the opportunity to play in Germany at the biggest club over there, very hard to say no to that. And then Caicedo might be our best and only hope, and I would say he's our more realistic hope, but we can't just stop at him. Unless we're able to spend, the fact of the matter is, we can talk about City's financial crimes as much as we want to, and yes, I certainly agree that if the likes of Marseille could have been punished then for their improprieties, which might not necessarily have been financial in that sense of the word, although there was some money involved, then there's no reason why, if you break the rules as blatantly and flagrantly flagrantly, yeah, I said I was right the first time, as City have done, then there should be some consequences. And that is partly why I remember saying that, I wouldn't really be too happy with having another certain type of owner, because I want to make sure that any prospective owner who comes to the club will be willing to spend money, but also make sure that the issues of financial fair play are very well respected. Because if you know how they say we should be careful what we wish for because we might just get it? And that is why we have to be very careful when asking for a new owner to come to our club, which is why I'm hopeful that someone like Daniel Ek can really, come in and shake things up and force Kroenke to leave. We're still quite far away. And with regard to the reason why I say we're still so far away is because how else do you explain the fact that we were top of the table for about 250 days or so and then end up losing it? As we say back in the UK, we can't try to have the penny and the bun. If we want to demand respect as a club for supposedly fielding such a young team, which really went on to top the league for so long, and how this young team have really played such beautiful, scintillating football, we also have to criticize that same young team for not having the mental strength or the resilience, as Tony Adams himself would say, to try to get the job done. And so the very thing that has given us so much, success in the short term has ended up hurting us in the long term. It's like there's so many ways you can describe that. But then that just goes to show that we have our priorities completely mucked up. And we need to make sure that we have some proper experience, but also players who are serious about winning and also who are willing to make sure that some of the younger players' attitudes are kept in check. Because one thing I've also noticed, Del, is that several of these youngsters in our team have pretty much been allowed to get away with displaying some really poor attitudes themselves. So it makes you wonder if Arteta came in to try to change the culture and rid the club of some of that arrogance. What's he done about the arrogance being displayed by the likes of Aaron Ramsdale and others? Absolutely nothing. So maybe he's changed the culture, but he's changed it for the worst. He's got it worse. He's gotten rid of all of the serious, experienced winners who were serious about winning, who were willing to challenge him and say, things aren't going that well, and try and mold a team supposedly in his image. The only way that can be successful is if you actually win something. And again, for the people standing in the back, improvement does not equal success. Had we shown a bit more resilience, had we not been so cocky and arrogant, had we taken seriously the prospect of winning the league by making sure that we went out and strengthened as we needed to do, we'd be sitting over here hailing this young team, giving Mikel Arteta at least some credit for doing what he had to do, and really at least looking forward to next season, if maybe not in the Champions League as such. But instead, we ended up becoming an even bigger laughingstock than other teams before us who were top of the league and failed. It's like 2003 and 2008 all over again. And those memories are so bitter that we revile the manager and players involved. So why should we not criticize Arteta and these young players for talking the talk but not being able to walk the walk? Or in some cases, even run the run? Or at least in some cases, stay on your feet and not bend down to tie your shoelaces? And yes, I'm talking to you, Mr. Kirior. We are still far away. We don't have that sort of a mentality. And when you have a manager who has made it crystal clear that he doesn't want any ex-players potentially spreading poison around the team, I mean, what sort of a vindictive man does he think he is? It's as if unless you are willing to completely say positive things about the regime and about the team and about the way things are going on, it's ridiculous. And if anyone dares to say that the emperor has no clothes, he's hounded out. There needs to be some sort of a change, and the change has to come from within. I think Arteta and the boys really have to sit down and have a hard look at themselves and make sure they start correcting themselves, because believe you me, one thing which I always say is that you can't serve fans like us rubbish and call it a roast dinner. Many of us see what's going on. Warren definitely does, because, I mean, he's watched Arsenal for long enough to definitely see what's going on, as have the likes of Mr. Walsh, yourself, Mr. Collins, and everyone else. So that change has to come from the manager and the team, and also the people at the top. And unless they show that they are willing to take things seriously, we're going to have the same thing again. And big up to the Aussie Gooner, and I will end it on this. He said something to me perfectly on Instagram, and I will repeat this now. If you cannot take yourself seriously, you have no business expecting other people to take you seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great comment, you know what I mean? Warren, I want to come to you, and I suppose I want to ask you the same question as I did Manny. The money that's been sort of floating around that we're going to spend 150, 200 million, is that going to make us challenge Man City next season? Or will we even challenge?
No. Both answer to both those questions is no. Right? Because we need in order to challenge Man City, I think we need 5 or 6 players for the first team starting 11. We need to get some of them out, the likes of Ben White and a few others. But I'm not as sure that the blame for what happened this season is as much down to the players as it is with other paid employees at the club and the owners. Because I'm going to just quickly say it, right? The owners, for me, along with the fans, are the biggest problem, because they have allowed this situation with, in particular with Edu and Arteta, to go on unchecked. That, as far as I can see, well, I might be wrong because I can't see what's going on behind the scenes, but from where I'm sitting and what I can see, I don't see that there's any checks and balances at this football club. I don't see Edu being held to account for failing to get deals over the line. I don't see Arteta being held to account for poor team selection, poor man management, and poor motivation of the team and man management of the team. I just don't see it. I just see him standing on the touchline. When we come up against someone who's tactically well organised, he just stands there and he doesn't know what to do. When things start going wrong, he panics. And for me, he's got a group of young players who are hanging on his every word and command like robots. So therefore, when things start going wrong, there's no one on that pitch who can say, right, this isn't working. We need to do something different and start dictating to people. We haven't got a real leader on the pitch who can start saying, right, we need to do this, we need to do that. You go here, you go do there, right? And the reason I've not mentioned Vinay and Garlic and Tim Lewis and all the rest of them, because I don't really know what they do. I don't think anyone does. I mean, and that's why I don't really necessarily call out the players too much. Because, yes, Aaron Ramsdale has got, he's got an attitude issue, and the way he baits opposition fans needs to be addressed, because he's already been attacked once at Tottenham, which was highly predictable given what happened at Leeds. So that's just two instances where his behaviour has caused a problem. And it's just, I think the playing squad in itself is just not good enough. We've got a striker who doesn't score enough goals. He works hard, but he's got number 9 on his back. And in my opinion, a number 9 is there to score goals. We need serious overhaul in midfield. We've got one decent midfielder. The rest of them, one showing promise that he might develop into a good number 10, but he's not the finished article by no means, and he's certainly not a leader. If any of our starting 11 defenders get injured, we're in trouble. If we get 2 go down, we're in real big trouble. Ben White, for me, is not good enough. He's got an attitude problem. The whole saga with England at the World Cup sums him up in a nutshell. And when George Graham was here, he would have been out the door quicker than he could have got suntan. So there's issues with the coaching, with the development of young players. We've got a manager who, in my opinion, is tactically inept. So when we come up in the Champions League against tactically sound coaches, he's not going to be able to work out how to combat them tactically. I've got no confidence that if we get drawn in a group, say, for example, with Real Madrid or PSG, that we're going to be able to go there and, say, win 1-0 or win 2-1, because he won't be able to work out how to get the team to get a lead, and then defend it properly. I just don't think he's got it in him. And if things start going wrong, he'll start panicking and it'll all fall apart. And that's if we don't just throw the whole thing in the bin. Because he's got a track record of doing it. And if we're in a title challenge again this season, I can see him throwing away the Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup again. Because he's done it before. So, for me, I think there needs to be a massive overhaul at the club, like top to bottom. And some of these players aren't good enough and they haven't got the right mentality, but I don't think it's all to do with them. I think it's because of the way they've been coached. I think it's to do with the way they've been managed as people and the treatment of the injury and all the rest of it. And that training ground needs looking at as well. So, yeah, sorry I've gone on a bit, but
No,
that's
you're
what
fine.
I think.
You're fine. Like, I want to ask Henry, and I'm interested to hear this because we were challenging this year. I said it last year. I want Arsenal challenging. We did challenge. Why am I moaning? Why is Manny moaning? And why is Warren moaning? You know what I mean? And I'm not sort of giving out or anything like that. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, we were challenging, but we're still sort of down in the dumps and stuff like that. And I'm just interested to hear your point of view from a Liverpool supporter. Sort of, can you see what we can't see, or what do you make of this?
Oh my goodness. I would just like to agree with Del Boy, yourself, Manny, and Warren. Yes, I can see it as if I was blind. Arsenal need an overhaul. They need to get rid of Arteta, Edu, Kroenke, is that how you pronounce it? And quite a few of the Arsenal players, because they think they are the bee's knees of Arsenal Football Club, and don't really give 100% to the club. I also think that all the comments that you, Manny and Warren, and people in the chat have been spot on with Arsenal Football Club. Yes, you have been challenging, but it's another thing to challenge and then actually win something. You've got to go up a level. It's not, you can't just be the top of the league like you were, be 8 points clear, and just disintegrate and finish second. You've got to go up a level and be like you were at Highbury. I've said it before, you never should have left Highbury. Yeah. If the Kroenkes should have bought out Highbury, redeveloped it into a world-class stadium, and because that's your base, Highbury, because you never leave the base. The foundation of the club is Highbury. You have been at Highbury for so many years. You won title after title after title, and FA Cups, etc. So, because you left Highbury, because you weren't prepared to stay at Highbury and build on what you already had, that's your downfall. You should have stayed at Highbury and built, like we have done with Anfield. But the clubs that don't build on their base and just collapse,
Like, can I just sort of come in there on that comment, because it's a great comment. I've been to Highbury loads of times, and I'll never ever forget the day, my first time at the Emirates. Okay, and I was I think it was in the clock end. I think it was when my first time at the Emirates, and from going to Highbury and then to the Emirates, my first instant reaction was like,
What are we
it was
doing
like
here?
the air just pushed out of me. I was like, oh no, this isn't. I don't like this. Straight away, the Emirates is a lovely stadium, but Highbury for me, like, the
That's
crowd
home.
is in on top of the players. This is what you want your team to be. Like, the away team come, they know they're in the game because the fans are going to be on them. And that's what I like. Not just at Arsenal, I love like the Anfield, and like, you're right on top of them, and I love that. That's what football is about. You are coming into our ground. You're going to get a game here today, mate. You know what I mean? This is what it's about. And for me, when I went to the Emirates, and my first instant reaction was, oh no. I was just the air went out of me. Like, I was just like, no, I'm not mad on this, and I get exactly what you're saying. Manny, would you agree with me with stuff like that, or should we be moving with the times, changing the crest, changing the stadium? Is the American way of football nowadays the way that we should be going as a club?
We've already been seeing concerns about Luton Town and whether or not their stadium would be capable enough of hosting Premier League games. And when you take a look at Highbury, yes, our stadium had character. It had, a lot of history to it. And one of my biggest regrets, Del, was that I was never able to go and see Highbury for myself. Ever since watching an episode about that on the BBC's architecture program Dream Spaces, and how one of the presenters was lucky enough to go deep in there, see the stunning Art Deco architecture and the famous marble halls, the turf as well, the sun-baked turf. It was a piece of Art Deco at its most magnificent, and it was something that really epitomized the area as a whole. It was a landmark by itself. And those were the days, my friend. We thought they would never end, but sadly they did. And, we tried to play at Wembley for the Champions League one season because we wanted to try and attract some more crowds. Of course, it didn't really work, but so we had to go back to Highbury and play on the turf on that field with smaller dimensions. And it sort of meant that when it came to playing on some bigger grounds, we more often than not would struggle, which is why our European record on Arsene Wenger is one Champions League final and one semi-final, a Europa League final and semi-final, and that's pretty much it. No more trophies. Of course, nothing lasts forever, and so many of the clubs, mind you, who have small stadiums right now, who see the need to expand and get a little bit bigger. We never had the fortune of being able to construct a big enough stadium to, take in more crowds at a time. So if getting more crowds in was the main aim, then we had to do that. And one thing for which I can say that we're quite lucky is that because Ashburton Grove is quite close to Highbury. Carl, I agree. It's very easy to say we never should have left Highbury. In hindsight, maybe we shouldn't have, but we had to try to do whatever we could. I mean, just playing the devil's advocate, we wanted to try and attract more people to come to Highbury, get in some more revenue, and try and expand it. So it was something that had to happen. And Jaminio, it does look like a glorified goldfish bowl. I think the famous clock was taken from Highbury and put into one of the ends there, the stands at the Emirates. So a little bit of the character was retained. And one of my friends did tell me that, one of the stands at Highbury, the north back stand, I think, is a registered building which couldn't be knocked down. The rest of it was going to be converted to apartments and the turf was going to be dug up. And because Ashburton Grove was so close, we wouldn't be too far from our spiritual home. So we had to do that. And I'm not going to, suddenly go so far to say that we need to be stuck in the past. What I do hate was the decision to change the crest, because that was before we left Highbury. And I think Warren, Jez Collins, Darren Sullivan, Kenny Ken, and all our other long-time Arsenal fans will agree with me. And I'm glad to see that Warren is back, and I'm glad this segues back into you. Will agree with me that crest, which we've adopted now, looks completely plastic. It looks disgusting. It looks void of any kind of, history or significance behind it. The old crest, in addition to having the cannon facing the right way, also had some Latin inscription, I believe, Victoria Concordia Crescit, if that's the correct one. Where's the sense of history? Where's the significance with this new crest? It literally looks like some sort of a toy badge or something you'd get at the bottom of a cereal box, for crying out loud. It's that thing for which our children would push our hands into the box, fiddle around, try to look for it, and then dig it out. And I should know, because I used to do that every time I get a box of cornflakes or Cocoa Pops or whatever.
I remember doing that.
But back to what. But so you were saying, Henry?
Yeah, I used to get the toy out of the cereal packet before having the cereal. That was opening the cereal packet, get the toy out, and then have the cereal.
That
my mum and dad. Fun.
But my mum and dad, whenever they saw me do that, they'd be fit to be tied, and they said, "Son, that's not the way to do that. Have your cereal, eat your daily stuff. The toy will come to you if you wait long enough."
No.
But but back to the crest. I mean, I hated that decision, because most of our successful moments, if you take a look back at the more recent history, especially under George Graham or what have you, they took place with that crest. And of course, the last time we won the double, if memory serves me right, we took the decision to change the crest after we won our second double under Arsene Wenger in 2002. Since then, we lost the league in 2003. We were the Invincibles in 2004. And after that, we haven't won the league since. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that when you change everything about the history, everything that made Arsenal so great, I mean, practically everything and not just one small thing, you're asking for trouble. And I want to see the club make a decision to, readopt that old crest if possible. Although I don't think that'll happen. And as for going back to Highbury, there's no way that can happen. We wanted to make sure that we have a new stadium where we could fit some more people in. At the risk of playing the devil's advocate, other clubs have moved on to bigger stadiums. We had to do the same thing. If only Highbury had the capacity to rival the likes of Manchester United and Liverpool or what have you, maybe we wouldn't have left Highbury. But changing the crest was a big no-no. And it's no coincidence that not long after we did that, we started to not become so successful. And if we can rewrite history and turn back the clock, I think there's a lot of things we would do differently.
Yeah. Henry, go ahead, yeah.
Continuing what Manny has just said, your neighbours, Spurs, being Spursy, have moved. Well, they've changed their name, and it's a glorified toilet bowl. Disgusting. I can't stand the stadium, and they haven't won anything, and even got Harry Kane, who I see staying at Spurs because he cannot leave. He won't buy out his contract. But going back to what I said about your roots, Arsenal is Highbury. If you leave your history behind, you are saying goodbye, farewell, we're moving on. You should never forget your history.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Anfield, our history is Anfield. We've got 2 new stands. We've got the Access Centre. But we never forget our history. And that's what Arsenal should have done in staying at Highbury, if you've got houses around the stadium, then Kronkers should have made bids to for those houses, those properties, and built Highbury into a better stadium, like we have with ours, because that's what FSG did with Anfield. They bought properties around Anfield and then put the new stands up. And now it's a better stadium because we've got 61,000 coming into our stadium in the new season.
Wow.
But you never forget your history, ever.
Yeah. 100%, because like even with the badge, like for me, like I love the Liverpool badge as well because it's old school and that's it. You don't change it. Like I just think that it's, you know, it represents Liverpool Football Club and everything, the history that it surrounds. And Arsenal's old crest was the exact same for me. It was Arsenal to me. The history, the, you know, everything that the club represents. And next thing, they just throw it in the bin. They shred it. Like they that's what they done to the crest, and gave us this crest that we have nowadays. I'm gonna be calm today. I don't want to get angry. You know what I mean? But it does wreck my head. I hate the crest. I loved the old crest, and one person who I just want to let him have the floor here is Warren, because Warren, this upsets you with the crest. You know, we've changed it to a Mickey Mouse crest and a Disneyland crest and stuff like that. You know, this is it. Look, mate. What do you have to say about it? And you're on mute, by the way. So if you want to just come in there, just walk away.
Sorry, Del Boy, can you repeat?
Hear you loud and clear, yeah.
My audio is absolutely horrific. It sounds like you're all underwater.
All right, yeah, well, come here. We're like SpongeBob SquarePants here, we are, but we can hear you loud and clear perfectly.
Right, okay. So what was the question, Del Boy? Sorry,
so
mate.
I'm just talking about the crest, basically. You know, like Liverpool kept their crest. Arsenal had the sort of, you know, the similar old school crest and stuff like that. I can never actually see Liverpool turning around and changing their crest to Americanize it or you know what I mean, modernize it or something like that. And what Henry was saying, you don't mess with the history of the club, and 100% right. Why did we do it? And like, you know, how frustrating is it?
Well, I mean, the issue with the crest, if that's what you're asking me, because I'm not 100% certain that I heard the question properly. But if you're asking me about the crest, right, throughout the club's history, the crest has changed on numerous occasions. But that being said, this current crest has changed so dramatically from what the previous one was. And that crest that we had before this one, we've had it for years and years and years, going back generations. And I'm sorry, but for me, it's iconic. You know, the fact as well that it's got that slogan on there which says Invicta Concordia Crescit, right? Which means victory through harmony, right? Now, my daughter is at this school and she's being taught Latin, right? And I wanted to check that was what it means. And I said to her, what does that mean? And she said, oh yeah, it means victory through harmony. So it does actually mean that. And that, for me, it's like a cornerstone of the club's culture. Victory through harmony. It sums it all up, right? Then, added to that, right, we had our ground taken away from us, and they gave us this new crest. And I have to say, I agree with Johnny Lydon's comments about it. Johnny Lydon was brought up and raised within spitting distance of Highbury, right? He came from a very poor Irish Catholic background in North London, in Islington, and he was brought up to support Arsenal. When he talked about the North Bank, he said the North Bank for him was all about local community. He'd go through there and he'd see neighbours, friends, family, right? But then he said this new ground, he said, I can't connect with it. It's soulless. There's no feeling to it. And then he went on to the Crest and said, listen, this crest that we've got, this plastic thing, is that the cannon ain't even pointing the right way. Now, I know, like, back in the day, the cannon was pointing the same way as it is now. But this crest that we've got now, and the previous one, on the previous one, it goes back, I can't even think how far back it goes, but it goes back a hell of a long way. It's all pointing in the same direction. And to come in and make all these massive changes, I just think it was premeditated. I think that they took a decision to try and detach the club from its past and its culture and almost create a new club. And that's why we got moved away from Highbury and we got this new crest, because the whole idea of us moving, I was under the impression of moving from Highbury into the Emirates was so that we could compete with the world's elite. But we're farther away from competing with the world's elite than what we were when we were at Highbury. And when we were at Highbury, we had 7, 8, 9 world-class players in that team. We haven't got one now, right? The stadium when we left, held 38,000 people paying, I don't know, say for argument's sake, it was 40 quid. Next season, they're talking about making the ticket price £100, right? The stadium holds 60,000. So back when we had a ground that held 38,000, we had 7, 8, 9 world-class players in the team. Now we haven't got one. So where's all the money gone? That's what I want to know. Where has it all gone? Because if we can afford to have 7, 8 world-class players in a ground that held 38,000, how come we can't now afford to have one in a ground that holds just under, 40 to 60, so probably about another 40% more. It just doesn't make any sense. Something is seriously wrong at that football club. Seriously wrong, top to bottom. And I'm sorry, for me, it's got a really, really bad whiff coming out of it, of corruption. And the sooner we get rid of these owners, the better, because they're the ones that are directing all of this traffic, all this negativity, right? Because people saying, oh yeah, making positive comments and all the rest of it. Well, is it really positive to continually back this regime that has brought us nothing, that has taken away the club's culture, taken away the club's personality, taken away the ground, taken away the crest? Is it really that positive? And that is why, the reason I started that petition. which has got 24 people signed it so far. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but, you know, I find it staggering that it's only got 24 people. Maybe it's something to do with me. Maybe it's me. And if it is, fair enough. But don't think about me if you're deciding whether or not you want to sign it. Think about the club. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not doing it for my benefit. I swear to you, 100%, anyone watching this, I am not doing this to big up my profile or my image. I'm doing it because I care about this football club and I love this football club. And I'm seriously concerned about the direction it's taking. Because for me, it's going in the wrong direction. So
it's all too nicey nice and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're sort of a club, right, that thinks about other clubs and what they think of us rather than us thinking about us to win. If that makes sense to people. So what I'm saying is, like, we'll just say, you know, oh, I hope Liverpool have a good win today and stuff like that. Whereas we're at Arsenal, let's think about us today, not Liverpool, not Man United, not Man City. Let's concentrate on us. You know what? It's like, you know, like we're rivals and, like, you know, we're supporters of a club for a reason. So our rivals would be Spurs, it'd be Man United. You know, so let's go out and, like, you know, show them that we want to beat them, and not hugging and kissing in the tunnel like I've seen today. Man City, Man United, and the TV stations and all trying to big it up. Oh, it's a rivalry. It's not really. You know what I mean? And I'm going to spit facts here. It's not. They're Man City, Man United are not a rival. When Man United back in the 90s, when they were winning everything and stuff like that in the early 2000s, you know,
Boy,
Man City didn't even come into their fucking top.
Sorry to interrupt you, mate. But at the moment, our main competitor isn't our Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, or any of them, or Tottenham. It's JD Epping Sports.
Oh.
That's who our main competitor is. We're dropping merch. We're, like, putting out merch every couple of weeks. We did it 2 days after we lost that game at Man City. There was a new merch range dropped into my email inbox on the Friday after we lost to Man City. Honestly, that I just found that insulting. And I was inches from blocking Arsenal Football Club in my email, because I was so angry that they dare do that. Do you know what I mean? Sorry to interrupt you, Del.
No, you're fine. I completely understand it, because it's frustrating, you know, for me, and I'm sure it's frustrating for other people as well, that the way that you know, they're trying to delete history nowadays. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's just Arsenal. I think it's like Man City. I got my hair cut today. I hope everyone likes it, by the way. You know, but my barber, he's a Man United supporter, and he was saying, Del boy, you know, United have lost their way recently, you know, and the fight and the drive isn't there. You've no real leaders. And he goes, I know that you keep going on about no leaders at Arsenal and stuff like that. And he says, Del, and he's right in a way, there's no real leaders in football. You know what I mean? Is there any standout captain nowadays on any team that I can't think off the top of my head? Someone will probably throw it into the comments, and please do if you can think of one. But is football going this way? You know, are we going too soft? Are we getting rid of our history and stuff like that? At the end of the day, history is history, if you like it or not. It happened. There's nothing we can do to change that. You know what I mean? If you go back to Nazis and stuff like that happened. It was disgusting. No one agrees with it, but it's history. With football clubs, they're deleting some of this history and stuff like that, and I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? It's annoying, to be honest with you. And in the Emirates, and I want to come to Henry about this, because I'm not sure about Anfield or like, you know, but in the Emirates, their history museum is away from the stadium. It's not even a part of it. But the club shop is a part of it. The club shop's the biggest thing in the stadium. It's come buy the merch. Come on, let's take the money. You know, I'm not sure about Anfield. Would you? Do you know, Henry? If like, you know, are Liverpool sort of trying to delete their history? If you know what I mean.
No. We are very history club. Everything is at Anfield. The museum, and like the only thing that is outside of Anfield is the AXA training centre, but everything else is within the stadium of Anfield. We'd never forget our history.
Yeah.
And that's what every club who has history should never forget it, because that, as I said, is the base for which to build a football club. Because if you forget your history, then you might as well be outside the football league and be a amateur side. If you forget your history, in my opinion.
Yeah, like it's look, you can't ignore it in my eyes. You know what I mean? And I just want to read out one or two of these comments here, because big up to everyone in the chat, and thanks for dropping by, and please subscribe and check Henry's channel out and Warren's channel out as well, and Manny as well. Luke James, big up Luke, by the way, he's a great guy. Faxdale, we have become too soft. The mentality of our club and players is awful, but true. Everyone seems to be obsessed with City's greatness rather than focusing on ourselves. Exactly. Like the way, like when people say to me, City are great, they're brilliant and stuff like that, you have to play them twice. Okay? So don't worry what City do. Ignore that. You just go and win the games that are in front of you. Every game, concentrating on the game ahead of you. You know what I mean? I hate the way people are, City are great. They're so what? You've 2 times to play them. If you beat them, happy days. If you don't lose to them, draw them. Then they can't go off and everything like that. Like, you know what I mean? So people need to get that in their head. Use your head. Big up Carl as well. I played rugby for most of my life. It was war until the final whistle. Football used to be similar. When I see players hugging in the touchline or hugging after defeat, violent clouds my mind. Yeah, you know, like I've won medals. I've been in teams. I've captained teams and stuff like that, and I've won medals. I never once, ever before a game, was talking to the other opposition, because I was going into war. Once I crossed the white line, it was war for me, and I had to leave everything on the line, and that's the way I played. Believe me, you know, and I won 2 major honors, if you want to put it. From doing that, you know, nowadays it doesn't seem like that, and I think if you not create a player, but drive that into their mentality of especially young kids. I manage a kids team, under 11s team. We're actually in a tournament on Monday. I'll let you know how that gets on, but I've drilled into their head the formation we play. They know exactly the way we're going to play. I keep drilling it into them every training session. Before we do training, I show them what I want them to do in positions. I have a whiteboard and stuff like that, and I bring it and I tell them, this is, if you're playing left back, this is what I want you to do. If you're centre back, this is what I want you to do. If you're midfield, and so on and so on. Before training and after training. So they know exactly the position that they're in. They know what they're going to do. If you're captain of my team, you are me on the field. You're my voice on the field. I want to hear you screaming. If someone's not doing their job, you let them know. Because you are the captain. You are the leader on that team. We're in the tournament on Monday. I hope to God we win it. But if we don't, I may be sacked. You know what I mean? But Manny, I'm going to sort of wrap it up here now, and thanks everyone for in the chat, and for yourself, Henry and Warren, for coming on. Manny, please shout out your socials and everything like that you wanted.
Socials. Well, obviously that's one of the easiest ways to find me. If you want to catch me on Twitter having a few disputes, as it were, with some Arsenal fans who do not think the way that myself, Dell, Warren and company do, you can catch me at Thangathara 1981. That's my surname and my year of birth. For a more friendly chat on a more personal basis, catch me on Instagram at Manny Thangathara 1981. And you can catch me on several fan channels on YouTube. Big up to Del Boy Gunner TV, my first, my last, my everything. The first time, of course, I actually dared to show my face on YouTube. And, since then, the rest is history, was pretty much on his channel. And since then, I've enjoyed every bit of it. And that chat says it all. It's not really too late for me, but I had to rest my eyes a bit. But always happy to come on whenever he, drops me a line. And I'm happy to sort of bite onto it, as it were. Big up to him. Big up to you, Henry. I think I've subscribed to your channel as well, but I will catch more of your videos, hopefully. And big up to Warren. I've subscribed to his channel, Warren's Team Talk. His obviously, we won't get to see his soccer Saturdays or Sundays for quite some time now because the football season is now over. But there's always next season. And big up to my other channels where you can find me. Oris Talks Football, S Featley TV, Coach's Corner, Danny AFC TV, Tony Claude Gunner TV, AFC Talk Show TV, and also big up to some other fan channels, Up the Cherries in All Departments, which is the Bournemouth fan channel, Huddersfield Town Fan TV, Villa TV, and Spurs U Asia TV. I go on quite a lot of these more neutral fan channels where I come as the voice of reason. You won't see me acting like the majority of numpties in our fan base. I believe that there should be no room for banter or snide commentary. We're here to respect one another as fans of the beautiful game, and we have to call out injustice and impropriety on both sides whenever we see it. Let's all respect one another and make sure we do our bit to make the game a little bit better. Big up to everyone in the chat, as always, people who are very close to my heart. You're the ones, as always, who make Dell's video channel and this video what they are. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And, of course, next week there'll be a lot of football to look forward to. Until then, take care of yourselves and don't do anything that the three of us and Warren wouldn't do. And I am out for the count and I need to sleep.
Yes, mate. You get some shut eye there. Definitely.
I was resting my eyes, you know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No problem at all. Please do, like and subscribe and check out Manny's socials and stuff like that. Warren, I'll come to you next there, mate. Do you want to shout out your channel and anything you have coming up?
So my channel's Warren's Team Talk. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. What have I got coming up? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I honestly, I don't know. I've got so much going on with this Kroenke stuff and all the rest of it. It's a bit, just all I can say at the moment is just keep an eye on the socials and whatnot, because I will give like a couple of days notice if I'm going to do something, but at the moment I'm not sure. So that's all I can say. And a big massive thank you to Del Boy for letting me come on the show, and a massive hello to Henry coming on Del Boy's show for the first time, and also a massive shout out to my friend there in the top, who's diagonal to me up above, Mr. Manny Thangathara, and I hope you have a good sleep, mate. Sounds like you're a bit waxed over. And also, last but not least, I want to give a massive thank you and massive respect to all the legends that are in the chat, and just keep doing what you're doing. And anyone who wants to get Stanley Kroenke and his son Josh out of Arsenal Football Club, please make sure you go and sign this petition of mine, and I am going to be doing, that is something I've got coming up. I'm going to do a video about why we need to get him out, to get those two out of the club, because they're a massive, massive issue. So, thanks a lot, Dale.
Yeah, no problem.
And it's great to see you. So that's it.
Yeah, no problem at all. And thanks a million for coming on. Really appreciate it. And Henry, sorry, before I go, please do subscribe to Henry's channel. Great channel. Do you want to give a shout out, Henry?
Yes, I first want to say thank you very much, Del Boy Gunner, for allowing me onto this channel. It's been a pleasure to be here, to be with Manny as well. Thank you very much, and for Warren as well. I've enjoyed every minute of it. My only social is on Twitter. I am Red Awesomely, because I'm a Red fan. What I've got coming up is I'm doing Resilient and Isles crime drama Monday afternoon. Tuesday I'm doing Only Fools and Horses comedy watch along. Wednesday is another show. Thursday I'm having a celebration because I have been doing my channel for 6 months already. So I will be doing a quiz as a celebration. And Friday I have guest stars with Dave LFC Chats and Ivan Jennings and possibly Keith Hanley with a weekly chat to round off the week. So, and I want to pay respect to those in the chat. It's been great to be here, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem at all, and thank you for coming on. Great points and great comments and stuff like that from yourself, Henry. Thanks a million. Please do subscribe to Henry's channel. Give a help out. It's free, as we say, to subscribe. You know what I mean? So no harm in throwing a subscription that way. But anyway, I have a bee in me bonnet, let's say, about the FAI. That's the Football Association of Ireland. Warren has kindly done a few slides for me. We've communicated what I want on it. So I'm going to get, I'll probably do it during the week. I'm not sure when it is, but please do check it out and hit the notification bell, because I'm not happy. You know what I mean? Just put it this way. For Irish tickets, okay, for me to bring myself and my two boys to an Ireland match, they are only selling the tickets for 2 games. It's Gibraltar versus Ireland, and the next game is the Dutch, Holland versus Ireland. For 2 of them tickets for the 2 games, right, they're not selling them singly. You have to buy the 2 tickets. And for 1 ticket, it's €150. So it's about £130. Okay? So for me to bring me and my 2 boys, it doesn't matter if you're a kid, it's still €150. So it would cost me €450 to go to the 2 games with my 2 boys. I have a problem with that. And I'm coming for the FAI because they're disgusting. Like you're taking away for kids to go to these games because you want money, and they got themselves in debt. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna let them know about it. You know what I mean? So I'll be putting that out probably during the week at some stage. Probably our season's over. It could be Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So please do hit the notification bell, and you will enjoy it. Trust me on that. But thanks a million. Please do just smash a like on the way out. Really appreciate it. And check the other guys' videos as well with Warren and Henry as well. And please do just hit a like on their videos and stuff like that. It really does help. But thanks a million, everyone, for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I've nothing else to say. Only I'm going to have a few more beers. I'm going to listen to a bit of Irish music in my bar, and I'm going to be happy. That's the main thing, and that's what life is about. Enjoy your rest of your weekend. I hope the sun is shining wherever you are. And thanks a million for everyone in the chat and all the panel. You're all bleeding.
Make sure you sing as well, yeah?